And I want to try and keep our sheep transfers as close to possible. It took me a long time to transfer 331 sheep up to that top field. It took me a long time to transfer 250 adult sheep down to field 7, so I'd like to avoid spending hours in one go just transferring them all. But I've left the JCB hitched up to the Johnston trailer so I can just run out, transfer a couple of sheep, and then park it back up in the yard. I do need to check on the wall because we have those big collection pallets, 32,000 litre pallets, that going to make it easier to move all the wool around this year. I may need to buy some more of them, but the big thing is making sure they're actually getting filled, because we misplaced one of them, and so we were generating 1,000 litre pallets of wool, which at the rate we're producing wool just isn't going to fly too well. Now apparently there is a mod that does auto load for wool pallets, Flegel flatbed trailer, and I could look at getting one of those. I don't know if it would work with the super pallet mod, but it would work with all those small ones. Just drive in and suck them all up and transport them down to the store. Now, I think it double stacks, and probably at least 24 pallets, if not 32. So I maybe should look at downloading that mod and adding it to this game save, just so that it's available if I need it. I try not to, but we are now at the stage where our wool is kind of getting out of control. And next year it'll be more so, because we'll have close to 1,500 sheep, I would guess. And then apart from that, the rest of the farm's pretty much done, except for it looks like I didn't plough up the this field 26. So these are all planted, these are all planted. I'm going to turn that into an arable field once these get established, these 4. Potatoes there, sugar beets, where did I put the sugar beet? Oh, I put the sugar beets up here. But I really... it's the temperatures. Sunflowers aren't good yet, I don't believe. Nothing's good yet. It needs to be 41 degrees. Sunflowers 45, and we've only got 32 degrees, so the ground's freezing. We're not going to be ploughing up the stuff, the oilseed radish, until the ground is warm enough for sunflowers. But that's the only planting we have left to do this year. Did want to check. What did I want to check? Sunny weather. Actually, temperatures are rising. 56 by end of day tomorrow. So ground temperatures could be absolutely good in a couple of days. I wanted to look at that one. 70% progress, okay. So again, this is nearly done. I think all the big tractors are put away. Getting close to this setup needing some servicing, so I might do that when we get back to the yard. I mean, it's not critical. We're at 57% on the tractor, 67% on the sprayer. I could look at trailed sprayer next year. They're not significantly more expensive than what we got, but it would entail less trips to the store or back to the yard to reload. So this is going to take us to 50,000. I may drop 25,000 on our farm loan, and that should bring us down to 100,000 for the balance, and still leave us with 25,000 in the bank. Can't remember what the grass seed contract was paying out on. But since we have the grass seed, that's going to be a no cost to us contract. Anyway. I haven't played Truck Sim for a while. I actually have Truck Sim installed, but I haven't played American Truck Sim since Washington State came out. So I think I don't have Idaho or anything more recent than that. And for Euro Truck, I think the last thing I bought was the Italia DLC. So I think we've got the Black Sea and the Iberian Peninsula. I haven't got those. Captain Zank, good morning and welcome to Saturday's stream. We are doing quite well here. We're just trying to inject to the farm with cash because we don't have any. Because I went crazy and bought a field during the winter that I technically couldn't really afford. But it doesn't break my farm sim cardinal rule of never borrow money. I don't have that rule. I have the rule of never borrow money for equipment that is not going to make you money right now, this instant. Because it's just going to be sitting around losing value and costing you. If you have a field that needs to be harvested and you don't have any harvesters, then I'm okay with leasing one, or effectively renting one for the job, and I'm also okay for borrowing a little bit of cash to buy one, so long as the yield from your field is going to cover that loan, so you end up post-harvest with no debt. But then the only other time I will borrow money is for land, because land doesn't lose value. So if you get into financial difficulties, you can just sell a field. And if you borrowed money to buy the field, you can sell the field and immediately repay back the money you borrowed. So it's not a big issue. Or as big an issue. You're still paying interest on the debt. And at this time of year, we have no income. So to cover the interest payments, I need to be working. And if I'm working, I might as well try and cover the principal as well. How are we doing? 96%. Oh, seriously? We ran out. Oh, that's annoying. 4% short. And this goes back to what I was saying about maybe I should get a trailed sprayer, which has a little bit more than 2,900 litre capacity. Oops, that was not the greatest turn. There we go. We'll zoom in a bit so we can hear the tractor noise. So what else have we heard about 22? So we had a little bit of information last week on 22 on the animals, just that they're going to be fluffy and more animations and more real looking. I don't know that we've got any other information on the animals yet, although they have said there should be more information on how the animals are going to work. What I'd like to know is how our animals going to work base game and how our animals going to work with seasons active, because obviously, yeah, with seasons you've got time to plant your crops, time to harvest your crops. With animals you should have times that they have babies and times that they're producing stuff, and it would be nice to see that modelled, especially considering, yeah, we're getting bees, and if you put beehives down near certain crops, the yield on those crops will increase because bees. So taking time to consider that into the model is that's some level of enhancement to the game, which we really, since I've only been playing since Farming 17, but Farm Sim 17 it was sort of plough the ground to eliminate a penalty, plant crops, fertilise them 3 times, and everything's good. You'll get the best of the best coming out, and yeah, that was how complicated it got. For 19, you lime the fields instead of ploughing it to reduce the penalty. Same effect. But also they gave us weeds, which is another penalty. They reduced the number of times you had to fertilise, but still the same effect. For 22 we're getting rocks. If you cultivate your field, it can create rocks, and rocks can damage your equipment faster, so it's going to cost you. It's not going to do anything to the crop yield, as far as I'm aware. But if you don't keep your equipment maintained, then it produces less, works slower, blah blah blah. So, anything that causes equipment to degrade faster is a bad thing. And so they've incorporated that. I don't know how weeds are going to work for this one, but apparently weeds will be more prolific if you use certain types of cultivators. Or maybe you get no weeds if you use one type of cultivator, you get rocks, And if you use a different type of cultivator, then you get weeds and no rocks. But I don't know. But there's all that sort of thing, pros and cons of using different equipment. It looked like liquid and solid fertilizer are still going to be a thing. Yeah, we probably have fertilize your fields twice in order to get maximized yield. With precision farming, that's not going to be available till spring of 22. And I want to get through there before he does. And obviously we'll figure that out when it comes out. And that's probably the earliest I'll be moving this Saturday series over to FS22, is once we get precision farming. The other criteria was, and I want a nice map that I feel happy playing. Okay, another pallet of liquid fertilizer. Hey. But with precision farming, you only have to fertilize once and sometimes never, because the previous crop left sufficient nitrogen in the ground for the crop you just planted. And there's another 2,000 litres, so I don't mind that. We will we'll definitely make use of that on our farm. Actually, that's an interesting point. I honestly don't know how much fertilizer. I don't recall how much fertilization I did on the fields I planted last week. I think I ran around with the solid fertilizer. They could be best condition. So back to field 21. It's a long drive through the countryside. I'm probably going to miss playing on this map. I think, on the whole, this map has been more interesting than Lawfolds. I'm not saying Lawfolds was bad. Lawfolds was immense fun. I enjoyed playing that series. But this one, probably more so. There's been some frustrations with the mods I picked, like the manure system mod, where I'm trying to attach pipes and get things to pump from one tank to another. That can be immensely frustrating. And of course, rolling tractors in the middle of the highway is not a great thing either, trying to get them upright. Now, not forgetting, I mean, the vehicle reset point is our yard, so I could just reset something to our yard. There is no penalty. I was playing Old Stream Farm the other week, actually last month, and I did discover that if you reset your equipment, its maintenance goes to 0, and if it's a tractor, it's empty. And there's a function of the game where if a tractor has less than 10% fuel, it will add 10% into the fuel tank. So your fuel tank is never 100% empty, so it's a little bit of a cheat. But if a worker runs your tractor out of fuel, if you jump in the tractor, it'll immediately turn off because it's got no fuel. If you get out the tractor and get back in it, it's got 10% fuel and you can drive the tractor somewhere, which is a little bit unrealistic, and I think there is a mod that prevents that from happening. But basically on the Old Stream Farm, your tractor goes to 0 fuel, and then obviously as soon as you get in it, you get 10% fuel in it, so you can actually move it somewhere, but it's got 0% maintenance as well, so it's a huge penalty for doing equipment reset on the Old Stream Farm. And if you reset your crop sprayer, then it's empty and 0%. So just be very careful on the Old Stream Farm. No, you can change the fuel usage. Where is that? Previous one. So you've got fuel usage default and low. And I think there's a mod that changes it to realistic or more real. And I'm not running, I did run that, but I decided just to stick with default. But, go right on menu. Dynamic. Switch to trains. I don't know. This one is just the keyboard controls. This one has all the helper refill. So you got the helper refill fuel, and that will allow a helper to refuel your tractor at double the price it would cost you to refuel it. But while I was doing some off-camera harvesting or planting, I think, at the beginning of the year, I did have a couple of my tractors. I just set a worker off plant this field, and I'd come back and the worker had sort of planted the entire field and had actually been running on empty for most of that. Workers don't check the fuel level when the tractor's running, but as soon as you jump into the tractor it says, oh, I've got no gas, and stops. But if you get out and get back in, you get 10% of a tank of gas for free. Which is a little bit unexpected. I think actually I was doing a contract in field 17, which is why everything was just empty. But yeah, there is an added mod that prevents that 10% fuel from happening. I don't think there's a mod that stops the tractor from running if it's empty and it's got a worker. I think the worker doesn't notice the fuel level and will just keep going until it finishes its job, even though you've told it not to buy fuel. So you might want to think about having the helper buy fuel when it needs to. Although again, I'm not sure if that's a good thing. First need to unfold the sprayer and head all the way to the bottom of the field, because that's where we got to. Come on, we're here. Let's do this. Oh, there's a lot of nice mods out there that just help. There's the one I use is the stop mod, which works on harvesting. When your harvester is full, it will stop and extend the pipe. So I don't have to pay attention to how full my tank is, because the vehicle will just stop, and usually it'll stop, raise the header, put the pipe out. So, oh, what? Oh yeah, I'm full. But it's really helpful when you're streaming and reading chat and not paying attention quite so much to where you're driving. Okay, well, take care, Longhorner, and have fun. We should be here next week. We're currently thinking about having the younger kids over. That's not a set in stone thing, but it may be a thing. So either an early end to the session or something like that. Okay, oh, it's only 15,000, but we get paid, yay. And this one is so grass. I am going to take that 46 is so grass. Oh, 2 grass contracts. Well, that's nice. Let's do 46 first, 24 on the way back. Hello. Okay, 46. And we'll head back to the yard, get this thing serviced. It's time 10:30. So yeah, we've got, the Osa family has a fairly lazy Saturday daytime. As I said, no shopping today, so yay for that. Although I went shopping yesterday, I'm pretty sure I forgot to buy something. Outside of that, I honestly don't know what my plans are for the daylight hours of today. Ooh, and try not to hit the hedge. Oh. Or the fence post. Okay, well that's our spraying for today done. I should probably go and check those fields I planted last week, just to see how much. I think now I'm pretty sure I did all of the fertilization on those, so we're good. We're good. What else do I need to do? So I'll just grab one of our big tractors, hitch it up to our seeder, and go find some grass seed. And as I said, I got a ton of that and absolutely no plans for it. And then I'll probably end up speeding up time frame a little bit over the next few days. Brakes and go. Because we won't have any clover to cut for, I guess, 9 days. The only thing that's happening over the next 9 days is we need to plant the sunflowers, and we need to do sheepy things, collect the wool and do all the things, feed them. But end of spring we'll have clover cut, and hopefully those fields we just planted will be ready to cut. It may be that we end up with a early summer, early fall cut on those fields. Field 5, which is over there on the other side of the sheep, will probably have a late spring, late summer cut, maybe a late fall. We might get 3 cuts in this year. And that's because of how established it is when the year starts. Obviously fields I've planted, today, game day, are not going to be fully grown on the last day of fall or on the last day of spring.